Here we have the Rebel Aces expansion pack for the Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game. In this video I'm going to do a complete unboxing, let you see both ships in close-up detail and review every card in this box and any new rules and tokens. Okay, everything's in order, all in good Ziploc bags as ever. There are my studs for assembling the movement dials. Ships are fantastic, a little bit careful when you move the B-Wing. The plastic box packaging grips it quite well, and the B-Wing's guns are quite fragile. Lots of different cards, upgrade cards, ship cards, etc. All heavy, hard, good card stock as always. We're going to go through each ship first, and then we're going to go through every single card and we're going to read through things. And of course, on top of this, there's a rule book, and eagle-eyed people might notice this particular thing here, which is an escape pod, and surprise, surprise, inside the rule book, Mission 9, jump to subspace, and some special rules. So we'll come to that in a bit later. Okay, let's start with the A-Wing. It's a beautiful blue and yellow coloured ship. It looks a little bit like it's come out of the showroom. It's that new, very pristine, so there's not much scorching going on, not much use. Engines aren't actually lit or on. Like a lot of the ships, they need a little bit of colour in there just to give them the burners aglow. Underneath is also painted. Simpler, but there's a white triangle and blue stripe that echoes the front colouring quite nicely. The tips of the weapons aren't painted. I'm going to bring in an original A-Wing here, so you can see side by side what I mean. So the weapons on the left have got a little red tip. Now I've painted the engines on the left, so that yellow and orange and whiteness is something that I do to all my ships, and thoroughly recommend it because it makes them go faster, and it's certainly the easiest bit of paint job you can do to your ships and personalises them quite nicely. So as you can see, subtle differences, but exactly the same figure, same mould. This really is the prototype on the right hand side, and like I say, you'd expect to drive that out of the showroom. It's just been through the car wash, I think. Okay, now to the B-Wing. Now this is actually painted with the coloration of the Dagger Squadron, or Dagar Squadron. So this red and grey actually means something which is quite nice. It's a little bit echoing the idea of the Imperial Aces, where you actually got a kind of fleet of renown going on there. So I'm just going to bring in side by side the original B-Wing. Or if I can get it in shot, I've got this camera zoomed in so much. And as you can see, well, it's whiter, it's cleaner, but it certainly looks like it means business. And nice little details, but exactly the same model again. So the rear, I'll just show the rear again, worth painting. A little bit of colour goes a long way and makes your ship travel the board all that easier, and the B-Wing needs all the effort, all the extra energy and movement it can. Again, a beautiful figure. Always impressed with the pre-painted quality of the figures that you get from Fantasy Flight. They really do give you great value for money and an out-of-the-box kind of game experience that you're just going to get used to nowadays, but it's really, really quite special and really quite fantastic. A lovely figure again. Okay, so let's start with the A-Wing pilots. You've got Jake Farrell, 7-point pilot, 24 points. You've got the Pilot Elite upgrade, as well as the missiles that all A-Wings get. Okay, so after you perform a focus action or are assigned a focus token, and boy, there are a lot of ships out there that can assign focus tokens to you now, you may perform a free boost or barrel roll. Now, barrel roll doesn't even occur on A-Wing, so this guy has now got not just the boost, but the barrel roll option. So it's not even in his action bar, so that gives you an A-Wing with a barrel roll. Rather fantastic. That makes it as close to a TIE Interceptor or TIE Fighter as you're going to get. Next one is Gemma Sojan, or Sojan. And you've got here the ability, while you are at range 1 of at least one enemy ship, increase your agility value by 1. So standard 2, 3, 2, 2. That agility of 3, soon be a 4. You're always within range 1 of an enemy ship. You get in close, you're going to be within a swarm of TIE fighters. That's exactly where you want to be. Pilot skill of 5. Only 22 points. Again, nice card. These other two cards, the prototype pilot and the Green Squadron pilot, exactly the same as you got within the A-Wing, same movement dial as you'd expect, and there we are for the A-Wing. So some really nice cards there. I think the two pilots that are going to make this set are Jake and Gemma, especially Jake, because I think having an A-Wing, well, having with the Rebels, anything with the barrel roll is quite fun, so I think that'll be great to fly around the board, and let's just see how many of those Imperial guys you can get with that. And now the B-Wing pilots. We have Kian Farlander, 7-point pilot skill, 29 points. When attacking, you may remove one stress token to change all of your focus results to hit results. Now that's amazing. Now it's really easy in a B-Wing to get stress tokens because look at that movement dial, a lot of red, and a lot of enemy are now using applying stress as a strategy to ruin a player's chances and maneuvers. This guy can use that to advantage, so he can either generate it himself and dissipate it in a really amazing way, and anybody trying to use stress to counter him, well, Kian Farlander is going to just come straight through, straight at you and shoot you. Okay, next, moving along, Nera Dantels, really a lovely ship. The artwork on the card exactly matches the figure, so this is really the red kind of Dagger Squadron coloration we're talking about. 5-point pilot, 26 points. And this is rather awesome as well. You can perform your torpedo secondary weapon attacks against enemy ships outside of your firing arc. So yes, 360-degree torpedoes. And with all B-Wings, 2 torpedoes a go. So that's very nice as well. Okay, so both the named pilots, of course, have got the elite upgrade. We then have additional normal standard B-Wing cards that come in the normal B-Wing set. So you've got the Dagger Squadron, the Dagger Squadron pilot, and the Blue Squadron pilot B-Wing. So again, stock ships there. And now the upgrade cards. So starting on the right, we've got 2 missiles. It's a new missile, Proton Rockets. It's interesting. So obviously discard to perform the attack. You may roll additional attack dice equal to your agility value to maximum of 3 additional dice. So if you've got yourself an agile ship, so not a B-Wing, but let's say the A-Wing, and you're going to load yourself up with rockets, then this is going to be a fantastic card because you can just do 3 additional dice. That's 5. You can do 5 dice. Yes, it's range 1. You've got to get up close, but that's an awesome weapon. Okay, now this is an interesting missile upgrade card. There are 3 of these. It's A-Wing only, but it's actually a refit. So what you're actually doing here with the Chardan refit is you're basically saying, I'm ripping out my missile silos or devices, and for that you're going to get -2 to your squad points. Now that's quite awesome because if you are flying on A-Wing for different reasons and you don't want to be, you know, using torpedoes or anything like that, or missiles, sorry, anything like that, then that's fantastic because there are so many good 1 or 2 point cards that you can spend that money on elsewhere. Brilliant. Okay, enhanced scopes. This is an interesting one, and this is really strategic. So during the activation phase, treat your pilot skills value as 0. So you can choose to use that. You can be a really fantastically high point pilot, and you can choose whether you want to move first, move last. So it might be something that you want to deliberately block or avoid a block. So again, bit of strategy on that. B-Wing only upgrade card here. So B-Wing /E2, it's upgrade bar gains the crew icon. So 1 point, nice. Again, if you want a special pilot in your B-Wing, and you know, it could be someone to go with your pilot in your B-Wing, whether it be a Chewbacca, Han Solo co-pilot, you could do some quite awesome things there with the B-Wing, make that particularly dangerous with the very high attack that it naturally has, and you can give it a little bit more defense, some little edge that can just keep those B-Wings surviving because they do get hit quite easily. Okay, A-Wing test pilot, A-Wing title only. Your upgrade 0 points. Your upgrade bar gains the pilot or elite upgrade icon. You can actually put 2 of the same of these 2 cards at the same ship. So although you can, if your pilot already has the elite pilot upgrade, you can have a second one. So that's 2 medals. You can't then add a third, even though these are 0 points. So you can stack, but you can't go crazy on these. And last but not least, you've got 2 crew cards. And you've got Yan Ors, and she's a rebel only. Once per round, when a friendly ship at range 1 to 3 performs a focus action or would be assigned a focus token, you may assign that ship an evade token instead. So really good. get a bit of defence on a ship that needs help. Karl Kartan, or Katarn maybe, I'm not so sure, I do apologise if I'm murdering the names, rebel only. After you remove a stress token from your ship, you may assign a focus token to your ship. So again, removing your stress token, look at that ship you had earlier, that pilot skill earlier. I think Karl Katarn is a very useful crew member, and certainly going to be useful in these ships and others. So I think all in all, you've got some really good upgrade cards there. Okay, quick summary of Mission 9. Basically, in this escape pod, you've got a rebel spy who's managed to capture a moth from the Imperials and is trying to escape capture, but is just drifting into an asteroid belt, and of course the engines on the escape pod are failing. So the good guys send out a small fleet, a 100 squad point fleet, including an A and a B wing, and there's a very new kind of set of rules where as long as the A and the B wing can draw a line of sight between the escape pod, so obviously you've got to duck and dodge all the asteroids, you add a tracking token. Now, I'll be honest, I've got to look through my other packs, but I actually can't find this tracking token on the cards that I've been supplied with the Rebel Aces expansion pack. Possibly they're in other sets and I've not realised it, but worst case, I've decided I can keep the centre cardboard that I'm always throwing away normally from the ship cards, so I can make some dials. There's plenty of cards, etc. around. So you then can create, basically you're able to give the escape pod the ability to move, so you give it these tracking tokens by your ships being in line of the escape pod. They actually need a little bit closer than that. So each turn you've got one of these tokens on the escape pod can then do a slight manoeuvre, and at the end of the day you're meant to escape. Now of course this isn't so straightforward, it's not just a go through the asteroid belt and do a very clever complicated manoeuvre. The bad guys are there as well, and although they've got less points and less ships, they're going to hound you and run you off the board. There's a setup, and as you destroy the Imperials, they get reinforcements. So it's a really difficult challenge. Not played it. Looks really interesting. Certainly you've got to test your manoeuvrability and barrel rolling of your A-wing now that you can do that, and hopefully the asteroids don't smash your escape pod or your A and B wings that are in this fleet. Okay, all in all, Rebel Aces, what can I say? You're buying it for the cards. Yes, I wanted an extra A-wing and an extra B-wing, only had one of each, partly because I never really use them too much. Will I use the A-wing a bit more? I could well believe I'm going to use A-wing a bit more. The B-wing, I've always liked it for being a gunship, but I've always felt that one defence has always been the one dodge has always been such a real hindrance to it, and it ends up being always targeted first. And although it's got, you know, ample shields and actual armour, it's got a lot of guts to it. I've always felt that it's an easy target. So being able to add a bit of defence to the B-wing in the guise of crew, and then getting a special crew member that can add and beef up that kind of defensive ability, I think really changes things for the A and the B-wing. So all in all, good game, good set, good box. Recommend it if you need the ships. If you don't need more A and B wings, you've really got to be careful that you're not spending money just on, let's say, 4, maybe 6 different cards. Love the torpedoes and missile options you've got in here, and any card that gives you a -2 to your ship build, it's got to be good. It's an interesting thing. First time I've seen a card do a minus, and could really revolutionise things. So basically, it's a little bit like stripping out a component of a ship you're not using, get the points back. I quite like that idea. Let's see whether the Fantasy Flight guys do more of that in future expansion sets. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment. Okay, I'm just going to do a very quick box spin. So the artwork on the front is echoed on 3 of the sides. So the 2 short ends, and again, just so you can see them, and as well as the top. Let me get this the right way up so that you can read it. The back's got the all-important details, and I think this is really good. So the other 3 sides serve very well for stores that have this on a shelf, so you know what you're buying and can spot it very easily. I really like the fact that you've got see-through windows on both ends, so from front and the back, you really get to see that your figures are painted well. They always are, but it's really good to see before you buy. And the all-important contents, which is 1 rule sheet, 22 cards, 26 tokens, 2 manoeuvre dials, 2 painted plastic ships, and with bases and pegs. And a really nice simple picture there, just lets you know what you're getting inside the box to make sure it's complete.